It is day 41 of 20. It is the 9th week, and it's Christmas week. I'm not trying to do too much this week, but started off today jumping right into building the MVP, learning about context providers in React, and getting the canvas, which is the core functionality of the app, available to all the components through a context provider. I understand about 75% of it. One of the best tips is don't try to understand everything perfectly. So I'm going to keep my understanding around there for now. It's working, which is awesome. And then later today, I'm going to get into some of the more bigger core functionalities of the app, which is bringing in all of the garments that are available in the database and starting to add layers to those garments to customize them, which I'm really excited to do. So today should be a really fun part of the build, and I will check in later. It is the second half of the day. After class, I got to 4 job applications, sent those off. They didn't require anything too special, so that was really fast. And then I jumped into technical challenges, and I got to LeetCode 704, which is binary search, very easy LeetCode. And then finishing LeetCode 208, which is implementing a try. And today I did the starts with the prefix function. So that's all 3 functions for LeetCode 208, which I did over the last few days. Tomorrow I'm going to do all of them from memory, diagram it out to make sure I understand the basics of tries. And that is it for right now. I think later on tonight I'm going to try to build more of the MVP, talk with the CEO today about some of the files I need from them to keep building. But that is day 41. I'm going to keep it easy and mostly light, hit my bare minimum, and that's what we're going to try to do this whole week. But I will see you tomorrow. It is day 42 of 20. Started today off with data structures and algorithms, going through 2 LeetCodes. One is to implement the try, which I've been working on for the last 3 days, kind of passively learning it. Today I wrote it from scratch in function constructor syntax and then class syntax, so ES5 and ES6, just again review those basics. And then I did LeetCode 912, which is sort an array using merge sort. Very passively learning this as well. I did a quick diagram of it and then just copied the solution down line by line, kind of thinking about it. And I'll probably be working with this code for the next couple of days. Like I mentioned earlier, trying to put all my deep focus into building and not doing LeetCode, since I'm pretty good at my LeetCode skills. And my view is that kind of doing a little bit each day, maybe over a long period of time, like a year or 2, will get me really well established for data structures and algorithms to a point where I probably will never have to review it ever again. And so that's kind of the goal, just do a little bit each day and then put all my focus elsewhere. After that, I did 1 job app, and I'm going to stop there. And the rest of the day, I'm going to be at the office, actually, in person with the CEO, working on the project, showing off what I built so far. And last night, I said I was going to go easy, but I had a quick idea about how to build something, and the intuition was correct with that. And so basically within like 30 minutes, using AI, I got the full gallery up. It was able to build a helper function for me to scrub the file structure and grab all the documents, put them into a gallery that's interactive, and then you can click on that gallery and bring that element into the canvas to edit it, which is so cool. And I learned a little bit about server-side rendering and hydration in that process as well. I'm building it in Next.js, so last night was really cool. Hopefully today will be just as much fun, but I will check in later today. It's the second part of the day. I spent most of today at the office, mostly just talking and chatting with the CEO about all of the projects they have in the pipeline, all of the things they want to automate. And I might jump onto some of those projects depending on their urgency. The MVP is actually not at the top of the list in terms of what needs to get done first, but it is a priority for myself, my own portfolio and resume and job search. So I'm probably going to get through a big portion of that first and learn all the skills that the MVP requires, which is React, Next.js, Postgres, Fabric.js, all of these things. And then if they have other things they want me to work on, I'll probably jump onto those projects. It really depends on whether I'll move forward with them in January or not, or I'll end up working somewhere else. But that was the middle part of the day. I got a little bit done, but mostly we just talked. So I'm going to do some more coding tonight, and that is day 42. It is day 43 of 20. Started today off with data structures and algorithms. I went and rewrote the merge sort algorithm for LeetCode 912, and that's all for today. There were no job applications to apply to, so I'm going to do none today. And then last night I got to finishing the user flow, so the user can start in the gallery, pick the item, it brings them into the configurator, and then you can basically swap between the views of that item. I'm going to limit the feature scope a lot, just going to get the color picker going, and then I'm going to start moving into the back end, because again, this is a portfolio project to some extent, and I want to get a little bit of experience with the entire stack. And also there are so many other automation and software projects to work on at this startup that I think we're going to take priority before this MVP actually goes out. And so I'm going to probably pivot a bit, but that is the morning, and I will check back in soon. It is the second half of the day. Today was pretty code heavy, just building. Spent most of the afternoon trying to find a good source for Pantone color data, which I finally found. How to convert it from, an Adobe format into a JSON format. AI helped me do that, and then I had to write an algorithm to find the closest Pantone match to hex code. AI also helped me do that, and then I had to get the color picker working, get the UI elements in there. I had to resolve a bug with Fabric.js not being able to handle images larger than 2048. That was another thing. So all in all, it's really productive. Now I can color any assets in the configurator, and it gives the closest Pantone color match, which is really cool. But that wraps up today. I did one more job application. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, and that is day 43. And I will see you all tomorrow. It is day 44. Started today off with data structures and algorithms. I did LeetCode something, design a hash map, I think 706. I've done that LeetCode before. I just wanted to go through and kind of see how to build a hash map from scratch. So I just copied the solution line by line to kind of get myself back into the rhythm of what a hash map is and how it works, collisions and buckets and things like that. And then I'll probably run it through again tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but the next day, and do it from scratch and think about what that means and diagram things and things like that, just like I did with tries. After that, I sent off 3 quick job apps. They did not require any questionnaires or anything like that, just a resume and filling out things. And then I'm going to show you this as well. This is be helpful if you're applying for work. The government is currently opening up a bunch of positions, tech roles in government, so head over to that website and give it a check out if you're currently in the job search. But that is it. Today is Christmas Eve. I'm not trying to do that much. Tomorrow is Christmas. I'm going to gift myself that day. I want to keep my numbers nice and round. So today is going to be day 44 and 45. And then I think today I'm going to have a little bit of time for family arrives in the evening. So I'm going to be working on design for the app, just kind of like fun artistic stuff. I'm just kind of using up my first half of the day. But that is day 44, quick, short, and sweet. And I will see you all next week. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you on day 46. It's day 46. It is week 10, and I am so exhausted. Started today off with data structures and algorithms. This week is going to be dynamic programming, and I started with LeetCode 322, the coin change problem. Taking a very lazy kind of passive approach to studying it, but still ended up getting pretty deep into it. So diagramming it out, trying greedy algorithms, trying DFS, watching NeetCodes, videos, diagramming all of that. And then I copied the solution down line by line for the iterative bottom-up approach. I understand about 75% of it, and maybe by tomorrow, the day after that, I'll have a full grasp of it, and I'll try to do DFS as well to really kind of see it from multiple angles. That's the start of the day, and then after that, I applied to 2 jobs, and I think that's probably going to be it for today. I might take the rest of the day off. I'm not sure. I want to really get through design work this week for the MVP, but today might just be a rest day. Over the weekend, I went to a tech meetup. That was really good, as always, and met embedded engineers and people from logistics and full stack and front end. So that was really great. And that is the start of the day. I will check back in later if I do more work. And yeah, that's the start of day 46, possibly also the end. It is day 47 of 20. Started today off with data structures and algorithms, working on LeetCode 322, which is, what is that? Dynamic programming, and going through the quarantine problem for the second time. I'm still kind of passively learning. I'd say my understanding of it is at 100%. And so tomorrow I want to code it up from scratch and finish that LeetCode a little bit faster than I thought I would. And after that, I got into job apps, a really long job app, getting into the local school district. They have a bunch of tech positions, so I had to fill out a whole profile. And then the job app itself required me to get a copy of my transcript from college, which is 11 years ago. So it was really an all-day affair for a single job app. But I sent it off. I still need to get my transcript for that job. That will come in a couple of days. I spent the day in the office a little bit with the CEO. Showed him the most recent version of the app. They really liked it. The minimal design, which is awesome. I did basically no work on it today. Just talked about where it's going next to get their approval on those things that are coming. And then also what they need to get done, which is actually a client portal and building architecture and databases and all these other things. And so I might switch gears middle of January to start working on that other project. But for the current MVP, I still need to bring in graphics onto the clothing items and then build out the PDF tech pack generation on the back end on the server side. And that'll wrap up the MVP, then some testing, some testing and some optimization, and that'll wrap up the whole project. But I want to do a little bit less this week because it's the last week of the year. It is the last week to really relax until things swing back into full gear. So I'm going to try to get things done, but also rest, relax, enjoy the week as much as possible. But that's day 47, and I will see you tomorrow. It is day 48. Started today off with data structures and algorithms, as always, doing LeetCode 322, as I have for the last 2 days. Today I coded it up from scratch and got it working, which is awesome. And then I think the next 2 days I'm going to try to do the depth first approach, recursive, to really get into it and understand it better. After that, I sent off 2 job apps, and I scheduled an interview with a startup in Canada, which would require relocation, and I'm down for that. I think I want to travel a bit and see the world. So we'll see. That's going to be January 5th, so starting the new year off strong. The rest of today I'm going to be most likely in the office or here working on the next big feature for the MVP, which is getting graphics onto the shirts and making sure that they're kind of working with all of the sizes of an item. So that's a really fun problem to solve. And that will be most of day 48. If I do anything else after, I will check back in a second time. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. It's the second half of day 48. I went into the office in the middle part of the day and did not do very much, which I'm very proud of. Again, it is the week off, the last week of the year. But I got some measurement data for all the garments, so I'm putting that all into local JSON files to build like a local database, and that's going to allow real measurements of the garments inside the canvas, and that's going to then allow to place graphics onto the garments and know where the position to then build out the tech packs. So things are coming together. I'm probably going to not do much more. Going to go watch a movie, and then tomorrow, New Year's Eve, going to try and finish that feature and then enjoy the rest of the day. And then we're going to take New Year's Day off, most likely. That's day 48. I will see you all tomorrow, and Happy New Year's Eve. Yeah. Day 49 of 20. Started today off with technical challenge. Still working on LeetCode 322. Today I started looking at the DFS solution, the depth first search solution, with memoization or cache. And I exhausted today again. Try not to do too much, so I copied the solution down line by line, basically thinking through what each line is doing. Understanding's about, again, 75%. Probably by tomorrow I'll diagram it out and understand everything. But tomorrow is New Year's Day, and there's a very good chance that I'm going to take tomorrow off and the rest of the week, and then get ready for the start of the new year. After that, I applied to one job, and I have the rest of the day. I'm not really doing anything until the evening, so I might in the middle of the day get into building the MVP a little bit, but I'm also not making any promises on that, just like the rest of this week. But that's day 49. I will probably see you next week, and I'm going to gift myself day 50. So this is day 49 and 50. Anyway, Happy New Year's Eve, Happy New Year's, and I will see you all in 2026. It is January 4th, 2026. It is week 11 already. Happy New Year's. It was a really great break. It gave me time to step back and reflect and be really grateful, I guess, for everything that's happened in these first 11 weeks. I started this transition into tech in 2023, so it's been 3 years since I initially had the idea. Since then, I've moved to a new city, Los Angeles. I have done an entire boot camp, which took almost a year to complete. I have gone through a whole job searching cycle, quit that job cycle to go back to teaching and build the business. And now my second interview job hunting cycle. I'm now doing work for a startup. I have an interview this week. I have a coffee chat this week. I have a massive network, technical network of engineers and founders and VCs. So it's just been really crazy. I think I have so many avenues open right now to get into a job that it almost feels like I'm already hired. And I guess I am in some ways. So there's, the startup that I'm working for. There is another company that I learned about through networking, where basically if you contribute to their open source code base, you can kind of get fast tracked into an interview process. The interview this week, and then also just if I keep kind of going at this pace, it's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so I think in another 2-3 months, I'd be ready to go interview at some of the bigger companies, probably like Mang and Fang, kind of skipping over the junior role and going straight to mid-level. So I'm just really excited about this year. I'm really interested to see where things go. But talking about today, I started off with technical challenges, DSA, going through more of dynamic programming, still working on DFS for the CoinChain problem, LeetCode 322. And then after that, I applied to 5 jobs, and I'll talk a little bit about how to find jobs easily, not through LinkedIn, and I'll do that in another post, probably maybe tomorrow. So I applied to 5 jobs, and then after that, I spent the middle part of the day prepping for this interview, looking through the shareholder letters for the last 2 years, watching this company grow from 0 to where they're at now, and stalking the founder and the interviewer on LinkedIn, just to kind of see what the company, culture is like and what to prepare for that. I still have some work left to do. I need to go through my whole resume basically and have all my stories ready for all the projects I built. So that's still going to happen, and it's already 8 p.m. And then I want to, hopefully after that, get into a little bit of work for the MVP for the startup that I'm currently working at. I talked to the CEO today about getting some more data and seeing how they're doing one of their processes and how I'm going to change that in the MVP. So there's a lot to do. I'm going to try not to do too much on the very first day of the year because I won't make it to Wednesday. But that is day 51, and I will see you all tomorrow. It is day 52 of 20. Started today off with an interview, and I thought it was really fun. I know that might be a weird thing to say about an interview, but it really, again, just kind of confirmed all the work that I put in over the last 2 years. So we're just chatting about, AI workflows and pushing code and burnout and product-led teams and all of these things that I just would have no idea what those things meant 3 years ago. And some of those things not even 11 weeks ago. So it's really just confirmation that all the work is paying off. And if I move forward, great. If I don't, I learned a bunch. I think I'll be able to add them to LinkedIn, honestly, as another senior dev, another founding engineer, actually the head of engineering. But the company's scaling fast, adding 5 engineers this year. So there's a lot of hiring happening in January, which also makes me pretty hopeful. But there's so many things to talk about. Overall, I thought it was great. Hopefully I'll hear back from them tomorrow. After that, I got into DSA. I did LeetCode 322 for the final time. I did iteratively and also depth first search. And I think we're feeling pretty good about dynamic programming, 1D dynamic programming. After that, I got into working on the MVP. So I got the admin calibration tool set up to put real measurement data for all the garments, and the AI really came through on that one, almost like an instant build. And then I had to take a couple hours to go through and tweak things and move things around the UI and I still need to do unit tests across the admin tool, but really amazing to have that just built so quickly and so effortlessly. I need to apply to jobs. It's the last thing I'm going to do today. It's around 11 p.m. already. And then over lunch, I also got to the system design book and read through about unique ID identifiers and then how to build a tiny URL system, how to design that. I'm mostly just doing passive learning, kind of seeing what's out there, and then I'll probably start practicing system design maybe in like a couple of weeks. But that's day 52, and I will see you all tomorrow. I almost forgot, so this is how to find jobs and not through LinkedIn. So on Google, you can just search websites like greenhouse.io and then put in the keywords that you're looking for, the tech stack that you're using, and this can give you a bunch of jobs to apply to without having to go through some of the noisier channels. Day 53 of 20 started today off with a automated assessment for the US Tech Force job application I signed up for over Christmas break. It was so difficult. It was like a LeetCode Easy, LeetCode Easy Medium, and then LeetCode Hard, or maybe there were two LeetCode Easies or Mediums at the end, but I got through the first two questions, scored this perfectly, got about halfway through the third question, and didn't even touch the fourth question. But that was my DSA work for today. Who knows what will happen with that. After that, I applied to 6 jobs, and I did not apply to any jobs yesterday, so I kind of was making up for that. And I'm going to over-apply tomorrow as well to kind of catch back up. And then in the middle part of the day, I had class, and I did a little bit of system design over lunch, looking at web crawlers and how to design that. And that is the whole day. I have not gotten to the MVP. I probably won't. It's already 11 p.m. I'm going to probably do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a lighter day overall. And then I got a rejection for the interview on Monday, which is, I don't know. I think I feel pretty neutral about it. And yeah, that's day 53. I'm probably missing something, but if so, I will add it in post-edit. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow. Day 54 of 20 started today off with a very brief coffee chat with someone that's in finance and helps early founders with books and things like that. After that, I got into DSA, looking at, I think, what might be the final intermediate level data structure, which is intervals. Well, actually, it's an algorithm, I guess. Basically working with intervals, and so I did LeetCode 56, merging intervals, which was actually a question on the IBM pre-assessment I did earlier in the year. So it would have been good to know that algorithm data structure before the interview. But after that, I applied to 3 jobs. I'm going to try to apply some more later on in the day. And then I updated my well-found profile. And then I'm going to take a break and then get into working on the MVP. And that's the start of the day. And I will see you again soon. It's the second half of the day. I forgot to mention last night I actually did get into the MVP a little bit. Might have another dev signing on to that project, so I was trying to start to clean it up, get a style guide together, get a contributing file basically so they know how to onboard onto the project. And today, in the middle part of the day, got into MVP, kind of focusing on TypeScript syntax. I'm now doing all my DSA work in TypeScript, so I get more practice with that. And right now I'm kind of doing a little bit of cleanup, kind of learning data flows through some of the AI generated code and resolving some of the TypeScript errors that are still in the project. And then I want to later tonight get into the last big feature for the project, which is adding images to garments. And then the last task will be to do PDF exports, a server-side function on the back end, and then clean everything up and finish. But that is that. I'm going to apply to maybe 1 or 2 more jobs as well and read a little bit more about system design, which I got to over lunch. I was getting through more of the web crawlers, which is really cool to see how web crawlers are using DFS and BFS, how rate limiters are using intervals. So like all the DSA work that you do is the foundation for system design work, and then overall it's helping you understand the internet and computers and clients and servers together. It's really cool. It's not just, how to get a job, it's actually helping build like a better understanding of how the internet works. But anyway, that is the end of day 54, and I will see you all tomorrow for the last day of the week. It is day 55 of 20, last day of the first week of the year. Started today off with working on the MVP actually, and just thinking about how to actually rebuild the local database for the changes that are about to come. This week was supposed to be putting images onto garments, but there's a whole bunch of infrastructure that needed to be built before that can happen. So I did that, cleaned up the whole code base, and I think that was the morning session. After that, I got into DSA, going through intervals still. Did LeetCode 435, I want to say, which is minimum number of intervals. And then I got to about 90% understanding of that, kind of passively learning it. Then over lunch, I did more system design reading, just passive learning, looking at more of web crawlers and how those work. And then I got into the next topic, which is notification systems. And then after that, I got into applying for jobs. So I applied to 5 jobs, and then I found 2 new job boards. One focusing on startups, one focusing on just all jobs, enterprise jobs. So first one is Welcome to the Jungle. Second one is Underdog.io. Those both seem pretty cool, so hopefully they'll lead to some opportunities. I do see a lot of job postings this week, so that's really cool to see that there's more opportunities kind of popping up. And it is 8:30 p.m. I'm going to spend the rest of the day getting into the MVP and basically getting the garment designer thing ready for bringing in the images onto the garments. And that will run out to the last day of the week. Tomorrow, I'm going to do another DSA session with another group of people. I didn't do any live sessions this week, so I'm going to try that one out and see how it goes. And then that will be the weekend, and I will see you all next week on Sunday. It's day 56 of 20. It is week 12, almost at 3 months. I started today off with DSA, going through LeetCode 435 still, which is minimum number of deletions to have non-overlapping intervals. I spent about 30 minutes on it. I still haven't gotten that insight that makes sense, but I diagrammed it out more. Sorted by start time with a backwards iteration, and then sorted by end time, and then did a forward iteration. It's starting to make sense, but it's not quite there, so I just need maybe one more day with it. After that, I spent an hour applying to 6 jobs, and that went really well. I tailored 2 of those job apps by looking at their Series C memo and looking at their about page, learning about the company, and then doing custom responses. I think that should help. After that, I started getting into refactoring the MVP. When I start to add this next feature, the architecture for that code base has to be really well nailed down. So I'm going to spend probably today, maybe tomorrow, sketching and diagramming out what the architecture should look like for that. So as it scales, the code base stays maintainable. But that's the start of the day, and I will check back in soon. It is the second part of the day. I have spent all my time since the last part of this video working on the MVP, taking care of a bunch of small bugs that just keep popping up related to zooming and panning on the canvas, resizing the canvas, basically trying to clean up the product view component as much as possible so that when I bring in all this new logic, it stays really clean and scalable. That is probably going to take the rest of the day to get everything worked out. But I'm having fun. I'm learning a lot about React, about Fabric.js library, Tailwind, just everything. So take my time, building the foundation solidly, and then hopefully the rest of this week I can get this feature pushed out as soon as possible and get to the back-end work. But that's day 56. Still getting a rest of throat, and I will see you all tomorrow. It's day 57 of 20. I still did not have my voice, but I started today off with jumping right into the MVP. I stayed up super late last night trying to get it to work and just kept creating more problems. So today I pulled all of that code that I wrote basically over the weekend and yesterday and just kept an observer for resizing. Zooming and panning on the canvas is going to be removed until a future date. After that, I got into DSA. I wrapped up LeetCode 435. I went out on a walk yesterday, and it just like all fell together, and I made it make sense. And so I coded that from scratch, kind of using the approach that I used for LeetCode 56. After that, got into job apps. I got through one job app, and then I rebuilt my resume basically from scratch. Again, took the entire afternoon and uploaded it to underdog.io. I'm going to be part of the next cohort. I don't know how good that platform is. We'll see. It's pretty exciting. That starts next Monday. And then after that, I'm going to do a class, and I'm going to jump into MVP, building that nonstop for the rest of the day, just getting to as much as I can, because next week is the deadline for that being done. It is the second part of the day. I spent it just as I thought I would, basically just doing as much as possible for the MVP. Really happy. It's mobile friendly. It's got dark mode. It's got responsiveness. It's got the scaling logic finally down with no bugs. It's got the color changer optimized. Got all of the UI elements in place basically to start loading images onto garments, and also implemented a new database change that allows layers to be added to garments, things like washes and dark color enhancement options. So basically all the foundation has been laid, the code base is cleaned up, and I'm ready to put in the add image feature, which is awesome, and constraint paths. So that's going to be the rest of the week. Hopefully I get it done early and I can get into the PDF tech pack generation sooner. But that is the end of today, day 57, and I will see you all tomorrow. It's day 58 of 20. Started today off with a live DSA session, and we got into a problem about stacks with potentially a monotonic stack. And we solved it the brute force way. Mostly spent today chatting about the job market, goals for 2026. It's always nice talking to engineers. I feel like sometimes when you're in the process of applying to jobs and looking for a job by yourself, you kind of assume the worst, and then you talk to other engineers that are in the exact same position, struggling to find work, and it feels a little bit easier. After that, I applied to 3 jobs and did a little bit of system design, going through a chat, building a chat app, one-on-one chat, group chat type app. And then middle part of the day, really just took it off to rest a little bit, still getting over whatever type of cold this is, and yesterday was really intense. I do want to get into MVP work, and I do want to get more job applications, but all the ones that I've come across require custom responses and solving coding questions, and it's already 9 p.m. So, I don't know, we'll see. Today might be a little bit light, and then tomorrow I'll really get into it. I sent off 3 more job apps for 6 job apps total. I'm going to do a little bit more system design reading, keep it light. Don't think I'm going to touch the MVP today, and then I will start again tomorrow on day 59. I will see you all then. It is day 59 of 20. Started today off with DSA work, getting into LeetCode 128, which is longest consecutive sequence, and it had to be solved in linear time. And for some reason, I thought that meant going through the array one single time instead of 2 passes. Once I figured that out, it was just a very similar approach to TwoSum. So that was the DSA work. After that, I got into job applications, mostly working on those while I was at the doctor's office, figuring out what is wrong with my voice, my sore throat, and got through quite a few job apps today. I think I got through 1, 2, 3, 7 or 8, because I just had so much time basically at the office to the doctor's office to get through those. After that, I had 2 classes in the afternoon, and then I got back into the MVP work, and I got the constraint paths and the garment landmarks onto the canvas. I got a very simple image upload feature working, so I'm going to try and perfect that tomorrow and over the weekend. Definitely will be doing a little bit of weekend work to catch up, not doing work yesterday. And the last thing I did was I read through the system design book and got through the chapter on autocomplete, which uses tries data structures, which I just learned like a month ago. So it's really cool to read through that chapter. Honestly, the whole chapter on chat messaging, apps, Discord, WhatsApp was really fascinating. And there's so many cool articles linked at the end of that chapter to read through. But that is day 59, and I will see you all tomorrow for the last day of the first 12 weeks, or the first 3 months. It's day 60 of 20, the end of the first 3 months, first 12 weeks, which is really hard to believe. Started today off with DSA work, a live DSA session with other engineers. We were going through 2 problems for monotonic stacks. We started them but didn't finish them, so that will probably happen tomorrow. I'm going to do some catch-up work over the weekend. When I'm not doing live sessions, I'm doing Vine 75. Basically randomly going through LeetCode questions to make sure I know all of my data structures and algorithms, basically maintenance work. After that, I got 2 job apps. I sent off 5 job apps. I'm really focusing on front-end roles right now. A lot of those front-end roles are kind of like a little bit full stack, so I feel like I'm really well positioned for those. I had a 3rd recruiter in the first 12 weeks reach out, so that's kind of cool. The profile, links to profiles, getting a little bit more attention. After that, middle of the day was work in the gym, and rest, and then maybe about 2 hours ago, around 8:30 p.m., I started work on the MVP, and I will probably be doing that for the rest of the day. And that's getting the very last feature on the canvas down, which is getting images to be inside the constraint paths, and some other little small features here and there that I've already implemented. And then over lunch, I also got to system design, looking more at the designing a chat app, looking through some of those links about how Discord handles a trillion or a billion messages in total, how Messenger handles 400 million daily users, and I think WeChat as well. Mostly just like curiosity reads. I'm going through some of the online articles for those, which is really cool. But that is day 60. There's work to do over the weekend, so I will probably see you tomorrow as well. But if not, I will see you next week for the next 4 weeks for the start of month 4. It is the end of the first 3 months, and here's a quick recap of all the takeaways. 64 job applications over the last 4 weeks, up from 33, so about double the number of job applications. 15 rejections, 1 coffee chat, 3 networking events, a little bit slower these 4 weeks due to it being the holidays. A couple of new LinkedIn connections, not that many again. Most people were kind of slowing down for the end of the year. 1 co-hosted event, 1 interview, the very first one of the entire 12 weeks, and then 1 new recruiter reaching out. Takeaways from this one is that all my interviews actually of the last 2 years have been from cold applications, so networking really hasn't led to any interviews yet, which is kind of interesting. Takeaways from the last 4 weeks is I crossed the 200 job applications mark over the last 2 years, which is kind of crazy. One thing I will say that's good about doing that is you get really good at selling yourself on applications and on your resume, which is a skill that kind of takes a lot of practice to build up. You know, basically just showing off all your accomplishments and basically boasting about how amazing you are to all these employers that you're trying to get a job from. I think as in the last 4 weeks, in the 4 weeks before that, doing this has been a great way to just be objective about the progress and being able to look back into the videos, all the content that I've gone through. It makes it a lot easier to feel like the 3 months have passed and I know that I've accomplished things. Whereas sometimes when you don't document it, it's kind of hard to remember exactly what you did and how much work you put in every single day, every single week, and so on. Things that went well. The first interview went really well. It just didn't turn into an opportunity, so that was really cool. DSA skills are now finished. I'm just basically in maintenance mode. MVP is almost done, basically, so that's really awesome as well. That's going to be finished next week. And I'm learning TypeScript and Next.js and server-side rendering, all that stuff. AI workflow, made some improvements, not any like really big noticeable ones over the last 4 weeks. And then I rebuilt my resume probably 2 or 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Again, just getting better at like selling myself, learning how to take my accomplishments and translate them into a resume. My current resume needs to be rewritten again, actually. Things that did not go so well, I did not do any behavioral practice. I also kind of want to finish this MVP and get something into production and then go rewrite all of my star behavioral questions. So I'm kind of waiting on that still a little bit. The next 4 weeks, I'm planning to actually start system design practice. So doing it alongside DSA practice. Right now, so far, it's just been passive. And I want to do more networking over the next 4 weeks. So, you know, the holidays were slow. I want to catch up on that a little bit. But that is the last 3 months, the last 4 weeks. And I'm really excited to see where the next